Ukraine's nuclear power plants are in imminent trouble. Europe's energy flow has been cut off, and a cold, cold winter is coming. The paradigm has shifted. There's disasters around the globe, but there's one thing I know. Where there is strife, there is opportunity. Let's go.
One stacker on a journey to find silver. International Stacker.
Hey everybody, the name's International Stacker. Welcome back to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me. Who am I? I make videos traveling the world buying gold and silver. I also talk about current events and other investments. And yeah, this is my channel. Make sure you turn the notifications on because I did an update live stream last night and I did mention something called Mega. I don't know. But I am going to be headed back to Florida in the next couple days. So there's going to be some unique opportunities coming there soon. And a big shout out to Uranium Royalty Corp, Uroy, for sponsoring this video. But today I really want to talk about what's going on in Ukraine, how that's affecting Europe, and how that's affecting the markets, okay? So the first thing, you all know, unless you've been under a rock here, there's been a conflict here raging in Ukraine for quite some time with Russia. But the one thing you might not know, here's Ukraine, bang. Ukraine, I think, has the most nuclear power plants in all of the EU for a country. I think so. And I believe in the United States, the state is Illinois that has the most. But if you're looking over here, Zaporizhzhia, that is the one that's been had shells. It's been mortared. There's a lot of concern. If you remember Chernobyl and that new show that came out about it, well, I guess it's not new anymore. Maybe it was 3 years ago. But that's Chernobyl up here, and that was the site of that nuclear meltdown. I believe that was in the 80s, something like this. Is the only reason that Ukraine has any power. All right, if it wasn't for the nuclear power, they would be up a creek without a paddle, and they're in trouble right now because most of the infrastructure got attacked, but they are rebuilding. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about this, really. Now, to really get into this, I want to hit some key high-level salient points for y'all, so you all know, and we're on the same level, so to speak. But the first commercial nuclear power station started really in the 1950s, and that was in the United States. Nuclear energy now is 10% of the world's electricity from over 440 reactors. And what you might not know is 1 in every 5 houses in the United States runs on nuclear power. That's 20% of our power. Nuclear is the world's second largest source of low carbon power, right? Talking about green tech, everyone wants things clean. Well, there you go. It's 28% of the total as of 2019. And over 50 countries across the globe utilize nuclear energy and about 220 research reactors. So a lot's going on. And you guys, nuclear materials are needed for healthcare and different other industries. And you can see here, U.S. is the top producing, followed by China, France, Russia, South Korea, Canada, Ukraine, Germany. So yeah, look, Ukraine is up there. Now, mentioning about the U.S., here's a map really of our reactors across the state. And again, here's Illinois, and there in the past has been a big move to decommission them. They're dangerous. We can't do this, blah, blah, blah. But for those who really want green technology and low carbon emissions, this is really the only way to do it. Now, the pain that Putin is inflicting on Europe and the European Union, to me, is really unforgivable, especially when it comes to wintertime. You're talking about a part of the world that gets extremely cold in the winter. He basically made the German politicians look dumb for trusting him. And, you know, there's already plans in motion and in place for the EU to revamp their domestic efforts. And if you're going to revamp your domestic efforts in a place like the EU, you know, solar's not going to do it 100% with all the storms and gloomy. Have any of you ever been to the UK or Ireland or any of these places? Okay. Wind might do it for somewhere, but this area of the world's, you know, not small, but smaller than other places. Real estate is finite. To me, the really only way to do it and wean themselves off the dependence of Russia is nuclear power. Like, honestly, I think that's the only way. I think the main cost of this war, obviously, I don't want to downplay the cost of human life and the suffering. All this stuff is horrible. War is horrible. But the real cost to this is the relationship with the countries that really gave Russia and Putin full power over their electrical grid and generation. You know, they were all importing it. All the EU is importing it through Russia. And when these sanctions and all this happened, it took them time to implement it because they had to build up their reserves. Now, before we dive deeper into this topic, here's some key points I wanted to show you all. First, these are the sources and percentage shares of U.S. purchases of uranium. So the United States, we import most of our uranium, okay? So we get 35% from Kazakhstan, 15% for Canada, 14 Aussie, 14 Russia. You all think that's happening anymore? Nope. So there we go. We lost 14%, 7% Nambia, 5% from domestic, and 10% from other countries. And, you know, with Russia, this could potentially be at risk. I'm not saying that they're in the war, but if you're in a region where there's war, it can be harder for stuff to get out. There are plans for new reactors really worldwide. So nuclear power capacity worldwide is increasing with about 60 reactors under construction. Most reactors on order are planned in Asia, some in Russia. I'll show you in a second. Significant further capacity is being created by plant upgrading. That's happening a lot in the United States. Look at all these new reactors. These all started in 2022. A lot of these are I think started at the beginning or after the war already started in Ukraine, right? So look at this. Belarus, which is basically Russia, China, Russia, and Slovakia. Look at all these planned to start in 2023. Bangladesh, China, France, India, Korea. My guess is you're going to start to see more EU countries popping up here. And remember, France was super anti-nuclear. Oh, we can't do it. Oh, it's bad for this and that, blah, blah, blah. This happens, and they're like, all right, we're building a nuclear power plant. Like, when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, and you have to survive, sometimes the extra stuff you're worried about just goes away. And then sometimes you reevaluate your stance and situation, go, maybe that was a poor situation being dependent on Russia, who, again, is building more reactors, China, Iran, Korea. So there's a bunch coming on in Korea. India, look at that. That is crazy. China, Brazil, Egypt, Missouri. I did a search for nuclear power and just climate change. Whenever I'm looking into different sectors, this is what I do just to see the hype about it. And let me just read a few of these to you. Nuclear power is finally getting some respect at COP27. Is nuclear energy the solution to climate change? And folks, whether you agree with climate change or not, one thing you agree on is there's a push for clean technologies, push for low carbon emissions, and the only way to do that, in my opinion, is nuclear. Should governments reinvest in nuclear power to fight climate change? More like, should they reinvest in nuclear power to not be dependent on foreign governments that can bully them and hold them hostage? Yes. Global leaders champion nuclear to solve energy crisis. Biden grants PG&E, that's California, $1.1 billion to keep the Diablo nuclear power plant open. I believe that's in Slow County. Nuclear, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, there's a lot of hype right now. With nuclear power. Now, I want to make a few points here. One is that the industry saw massive underinvestment in new reactors and new mines in terms of uranium around the world, within the Eurozone, within the both. But now they're working from behind because I believe officials have learned that China and Russia have really essentially cornered the market, okay? And with its price already more than doubling from its unsustainable bottom, we now found ourselves really in a situation where there's a clear runaway of at least the last decade in terms of the price action on uranium, where deficits will be huge, and North America is literally in a nuclear race to bring production back to the U.S., where really it's non-existent. Remember that other slide? What did it say? Like 5%? Yeah, 5% from the United States. Okay. That should tell you something. Okay. And another thing is there political will? Is there political will and support for nuclear? A lot of stuff's happening, folks. There's bipartisan support, which is like impossible these days. So that's pretty dang impressive. So that's the Democrat and Republican for those non-U.S. folks. Biden administration wants approval for DOE to purchase $4.3 billion in domestic uranium. There's bipartisan infrastructure bill signed into law, which makes $6 billion for nuclear credit program for qualifying nuke plants. Also, too, the U.S. set a goal to reach 100% carbon pollution-free electricity by 2035. Can't do that without nuclear. World's largest nuclear reactor fleet over reliance on imports. Yeah. So this is talking about we import so much uranium, we're in trouble. U.S. Think about it. National security concerns. If these countries just cut off our uranium, we'd be in trouble. 1 in 5 houses in the United States could be dark. Nuclear fuel work. Anyways, a lot of stuff's happening in this regard. Now, in January 2020, the first company of its kind, really in the uranium industry, went public. It's the first ever and the only uranium royalty company in the United States. The most profitable and effective business model, in my opinion, of commodities. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, folks, but these are my personal opinions and what I'm doing and watching. And the company I'm really watching is this one right here, Uranium Royalty Corp, or Uroy on NASDAQ. The key here with royalties, and this is the same reason I like that gold royalty company I was asking about, royalties spreads out. It spreads the risk out. They have multiple companies engaged, blah, 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 to protect themselves. So, for instance, with this company, Uroy, it already owns 15 royalties, with 2 of them resuming production. So that's already generating or going to be generating income for Uroy very soon. And partners include Uranium Energy Corp. You all remember them, UEC. They're one of the companies I'm watching. Cameco, Orano, Rio Tinto, Paladin, CGN, Yellowcake. The list goes on and on and on and on. Now, a couple things, too, I really like about this company is it's the first company to really apply the successful royalty model to the uranium sector. Again, that's a popular model in other sectors, first of its kind in uranium. It has a strong balance sheet. They have over 133 million Canadian dollars in liquid assets. You got to have liquidity. You can have the best people, best business model, etc., but without liquidity. And the folks running this, Amir Abnani, Scott Melby, I've had those guys on the channel before, really doing great things in my opinion. Now, a couple more things and reasons why I like Uroy, and let's pop the chart up here, is one, on their balance sheet, they have 1.5 million pounds of U308, uranium 308, which is yellowcake, and they keep buying more and more. So literally, as we stack gold and silver, they're stacking uranium. Can I get some uranium nuggets for my stack, please? And that's taking supply off the market, which is good, and also building a strategic reserve. I like it. Uranium is now the bridge between politicians that want energy independence for the nation and those who want, clean zero emissions. You can't have one without the other. You got it. There's no other solution in the United States, in the world at this time besides nuclear power, in my personal opinion. Creating royalty streams is really the most scalable business model, and some even call it recession proof. And that's where the income is fixed per contract and growing with each one. Okay. So it increases, each company increases the revenue generation with very little increase to overhead. Okay. This company spends $0 drilling, $0 developing, $0 mining, $0 extracting, refining, hauling. It owns no caterpillars, no bulldozers, no helicopters, no rigs, no equipment, no dirt. All that risk is left to the companies. So that's really why I like the royalty market, because even if, this one's in 15 royalties and growing, So even if 2 companies fail, you still have 13 royalties. Whereas if you're just in one company, it's a lot riskier, in my opinion, right? The size of the opportunity with Uroy, in my opinion, it can be huge. The price today you see is $2.67. This has a current price target over $5.75. So let that sink in. And in my opinion, there's never been really more support in the world for uranium, especially with what's happened with Ukraine and what's going on over there. So I don't know. What do you guys think? One, did you enjoy the video? Do you agree with my opinion really on uranium and the way the world is? And, you know, we've been in a globalized economy for some time, and I believe we're switching from globalization because, you know, many people never thought a full-scale war would happen again in the 21st century like it did in the past. And what Russia showed us is it did, and probably will happen again. Will happen again. So being dependent on others for your strategic needs is very dangerous. Okay. There he is, Scott. Amir. I love these guys. Very smart. But that's what I do too. I really dive into this stuff and see who's behind it, if they're personally invested, right? Stuff like that. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I'm headed down to Florida. If you're in Florida, you want to meet up and you've been watching the channel for some time and you want to claim your very own custom You Caught the King Crab challenge coin, only 50 in the world, email me at internationalstacker@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn the notifications on. We're almost to 30,000 subscribers. Let's do it. And I guess I'll say, catch you on the next one. Woo!
One stacker on a journey to find